Hello, everyone. This is the weekly review for AP World History from March 15th to March 19th as we began working on Unit 8, Cold War and Decolonization. At the beginning of the week, we finished up the Unit 7 exam on Monday. Again, this was the first attempt by students to take the exam by themselves. On Friday, students were also asked to score their short answer questions against a list of sample responses. This was provide an opportunity to see how students did working by themselves and what their short answers looked like compared to the ideal responses that were produced by the scorers of the exam. We had a writing prompt that worked on unpacking the prompt from the DBQ essay we are currently working on. The directions for that DBQ essay were: using the documents provided in your knowledge of world history, analyze the degree to which communist movements affected women's struggle for rights in the 20th century. During the writing prompt, we talked about what categories you might anticipate applying the documents to, given the language of the prompt, and what would your thesis look like, given the language of the prompt as well. The first section that we worked on was called Setting the Stage for the Cold War and Decolonization. Students were asked to explain the historical context of the Cold War after 1945. We reviewed 3 important pre- and post-war conferences that were conducted by the winning powers in locations such as Potsdam and Yalta and Tehran. And we discussed the shifting balance of power that occurred after World War II, where the United States and the Soviet Union became the preeminent powers. And we defined what historians mean by a Cold War. A Cold War that does not have a direct hot action where troops are engaged. And instead, it's a war of ideologies and political thought. Our 4-class focus continued to be respect. This includes being engaged in class, emphasizing the benefits and satisfaction of learning, and attempting to complete work in a timely fashion. We will have an exit ticket at the beginning of this week coming up on respect, and we will move on to another executive functioning skill. We also had a reading section on the Cold War. We constructed a list of the causes and consequences of the Cold War. Causes included things like the political and economic ideological differences between the United States and Soviet Union. And the consequences included things like the Truman Doctrine and the formation of NATO in Western Europe and the Warsaw Pact in Eastern Europe. We continued working on a DBQ graphic organizer that analyzed the documents from the DBQ. Again, this essay focused on the impact that the communist movement had on women's rights around the world. And as we analyzed the documents, we thought about things such as where the document came from, who produced the document, what was the intended audience of the document, and things of that nature. We basically unpacked it using the soapstone method of analyzing sources. We also talked about the effects of the Cold War. This assignment reviewed the effects. We examined the effects on Germany and its division into East and West. Again, the establishment of NATO and the Warsaw Pact. We talked about various proxy wars that occurred between the US and the USSR and other countries such as Korea, Vietnam, Angola, Nicaragua, and Cuba. And we reviewed the anti-nuclear movements that began all over the world during the Cold War. What we have to look forward to: we will continue Unit 8 on Cold War and Decolonization. We will focus on the spread of communism and the beginning of decolonization after 1900. We're going to continue working on the next DBQ essay and unpacking the sources, the documents that you'll be used to provide evidence for your thesis. We will have the exit ticket on respect, and our new executive functioning skill will be effective communication. That's it for now. Take care.